We see a beautiful girl with a ruined makeup. Who's Lotte? She's running away in her wedding dress. Finally, she sits next to a guy who shows interest in knowing her story. Lotte takes him to the flashback, where we see Alex is a news reporter and Lotte is the producer on that same TV show. She is madly in love with Alex and waiting for a Hollywood-style proposal for marriage from him. Lotte has a habit of going very deep into her thoughts and imagining it to be a reality. But when the dream ends, she's found upset. Lotte is back in her real life, where Alex ends up proposing to her, but in a very dry and irregular style. It's just 3 weeks left for her wedding. Lotte is trying her wedding dress. Lotte introduces her best friends and her sister, Kusia, who's sweet but a desperate housewife, running the family by herself, Pam, who's desperate to meet new guys and hook up with them, Estelle, Lotte's sister, who doesn't look like Lotte. She was ugly before and has done a lot of plastic surgeries. She is now a social media influencer. And finally, Kim, who is the best friend of Estelle but very mean person. On her way back to work, Lotte crashes up with Chris, who spills coffee over Lotte. Lotte expects an apology from Chris, but Chris behaves rude and says that if she wants something, she can call the office and take it from there. He's in a hurry and he needs to leave from there right now. Lotte is even more frustrated now. At the office, Estelle is waiting for Lotte. That's when John, the head boss, calls Lotte for the meeting and Estelle starts hitting on her boss. John looks impressed with Estelle and that's when Lotte says to Estelle that she don't dare to hit on her boss. But Estelle has other thoughts for her boss. Lotte joins the meeting in the office, where Fritz introduces Chris. Chris is the same guy who had spilled coffee over Lotte. Fritz says that Chris has joined the office to get the viewers back on our channel. Lotte then proposes an idea about Fat People TV show and Alex steals the idea entirely and says that it's his idea. But Chris is convinced with the details of Lotte, where they shouldn't be insulting fat people, but Fritz asks Alex to drive the idea. Lotte is upset with Alex and says that he shouldn't have took the entire credit. Later, Alex tells Lotte that they both are a team, so it doesn't matter who gets the credit. Chris is getting new hot girl for the weather channel as he plans to get some more audiences. Lotte is unhappy with that call and she feels that it's like a pin-up doll with no experience on weather reporting. Lotte comes to Chris to fight with him, but on the contrary, Chris says that he loves Lotte's ideas on the board. Chris then asks her to propose the idea to the super boss. That's when someone calls Lotte for the live shoot assistance. On the live TV show, Alex comes to Lotte and breaks up with her. Lotte is in shock. And that's when Chris tells Lotte on headphones that there has been some issue in the control room and she is live on the TV. The breakup video has gone viral and is trending with 10 million views. Lotte packs her stuff from Alex's house with the help of her friends. And the friends ask Lotte to move on in life right now. Everything is over with Alex and she can't go back to him. Lotte now lives with her sister Estelle at her house, where she's trying to get over her memories with Alex. And that's when she hears someone in the house. She sees her boss John with her sister making out loud, which frustrates Lotte even more now. Next day, Lotte knows that the show she proposed has been given a green light from the sponsors, but the entire credit is taken over by her ex, Alex. Lotte is getting broken by every day. Next day, Lotte is at the shoot of a different show, but unfortunately the host is missing. And Lotte has to take over as a host of the show. Estelle dates with John as Pirna. Estelle is now getting married and wants Kim to be her bridesmaid and the wedding planner. Lotte is looking like a sad, demotivated person. The show, which Lotte hosted as a temporary host, now the network wants her to be the permanent host. Lotte doesn't have much of an option, so she picks up the task. Chris is getting closer with Lotte's ideology and makes a deal with her to win Alex back in Lotte's life. The plan begins and Chris gets Lotte over an entire makeover, changes her style. Lotte is now transformed into a hot, sexy girl with all new confidence. Lotte gets famous all over the country with her new TV show, while Alex is getting jealous with all this new fun Lotte. Alex comes to Lotte and asks for her help. He's trying to get closer with Lotte, and that's when Chris steals her away. Chris' idea is working well, and Alex is getting attracted with Lotte again. Alex asks Lotte for creative help. and Lotte is dressed up in a sexy nightgown. And that's when the accidentally video call starts with the entire office. Here Lotte has an embarrassing moment for herself. Chris comes to Lotte and tells her that he's got an offer as a senior producer in New York. Estelle asks Lotte to take care of her fiancé's kid. Chris is dressed up like a woman playing with the kid. And that's when the kid finds Lotte's Barbie. Chris asks where's the other doll of Ken. Lotte says that Ken has been cremated. That's when the bell rings and Alex, who's come to Lotte to ask her out for dinner. Chris agrees to take care of the kid, but we can clearly see that he's jealous of Lotte going out with Alex. Alex at the dinner tries to come closer with Lotte and ask her to be a team again. He tries to kiss her, but Lotte has Chris all over her mind. She asks Alex for some more time. Chris tells Lotte Alex's show has been cancelled and it's the time right now to pitch her idea to the boss. Chris and Lotte works together on Lotte's dream idea of beautiful proposals, and the show is now called Just Say Yes. Chris also gives a small gift to Lotte. We can see love in the eyes of Chris for Lotte. But the very moment, Alex proposes Lotte again. Lotte is not sure about Alex, but by the time Lotte could react, Alex is already on his knees, proposing to her. John opens up the champagne bottle and she doesn't have anything to say. Chris looks upset but congratulates Lotte for the proposal. He doesn't let Lotte finish and leaves from there. Lotte opens up the gift and it's the same doll of Ken, which Lotte had connections of being in her dream husband. The guy in the park at the present time tells that it's so clear that Chris is the guy for her. All the girls are celebrating for Estelle's bachelor party and blindfold her and takes her for a surprise boat trip with a hunk sailor who's supposed to be the stripper. Lotte asks everyone not to get overdrunk as tomorrow is going to be a big day for Estelle and it's a wedding, but no one really cares about it. And the slutty party begins with all the wines and the drugs. The girls are so drunk that they don't even know that they are walking on the streets and puking all over. They are hallucinating. Estelle doesn't want to go home, so Lotte comes back home alone and starts drinking by herself. She looks at the beautiful wedding dress of Estelle and puts the dress on her and accidentally spills wine over it. Lotte hears Estelle coming in the room and hides in the balcony and falls from there. She runs back to take an alternative dress from Alex's house. And that's when Lotte gets surprise of her life. She finds Alex having sex with Kim. Lotte asks Alex that what is she doing at her house, but that's when Kim says that they were going to tell her about this. Lotte asks them means whom. She says that all this time Estelle and Kim was hiding the relationship of Alex and Kim from her. Lotte breaks down in tears and runs away from there. That's when she comes running to the park, where she started telling her story to this strange guy. He tells her that she shouldn't be sitting here and crying. She must go back to the wedding and fight for herself. Pam, on the other hand, was making out at the school with the stripper from last night. Lotte rides the bike and reaches the wedding. Estelle sees Lotte in her ruined wedding dress. She pounces on her and starts fighting with Lotte. Lotte breaks down and tells Estelle that she knows about Alex and Kim. Lotte bursts out saying that she is fake and nothing about her is real, even her relationship. John listens to everything and is in a shock. He leaves from the marriage with his daughter. Estelle says that she never wants to see Lotte again. All the friends support Estelle, and Lotte is left alone to cry at the abandoned wedding site. Everyone's broken with the incident. Estelle is crying in her pajamas, and John is crying at his office. Alex breaks up with Kim, and Lotte moves to a new house. Chris is leaving from the office. Alex tells Lotte that he broke up with Kim and they must get back together. Lotte refuses and says that she doesn't want to be someone's number two. Lotte gives the ring back to him and says that for the first time she's feeling happy without him and he must be with someone who is happy with him. Estelle at the home was watching Lotte's TV show as if she is missing her sister. That's when Lotte comes to patch up with Estelle and says that she didn't mean to ruin her wedding and she shouldn't have said about John's wife Ashes. Estelle confesses as well. The sisters reunite once again. Lotte goes back to the office and asks John that they must do the show Just Say Yes. Estelle, while driving, is talking over the phone with Lotte. That's when Estelle is pulled over by the policeman and the entire scene turns into a romantic dreamy scenes with dancers and flowers. While John comes over the horse and proposes Estelle, that's when Estelle and John says that she must stop Chris. Lotte runs all over the streets and stop Chris from going, but it's too late. Chris has already left. Pam at the school sees the father of Dylan. The father is nobody else but the same stripper whom Pam made out with. She leaves a note of suspect with the wife by returning the clothes. Goose gets back her sex life with her husband, and Estelle is getting married with John in the church. Everything is just perfect, except for Lotte's love life, which is still missing the piece. That's when Chris comes to the wedding reception of Estelle and surprises Lotte with a kiss. They both kiss, and the story ends with happily ever after. And that's the story so far.